Hello, my name is Nancy Daniels, and I wanted to talk to you about what makes for dynamic public speaking. You know, the really good speakers, as well as athletes, musicians, singers, they do experience nervousness, but they know how to control that nervousness and to allow it to work for them and not against them. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about in this presentation. The 5 components, the 5 characteristics that make for dynamic public speaking. The first is the intellectual, to know your material. If you're not comfortable with what you're saying, if you don't know your material, you have no right to get up to that lectern and give a presentation or deliver a speech. That means you must practice it out loud. Reading your script over to yourself is not practice, because you don't know how those words are going to sound as you say them. So you must practice it. I advocate practicing several days in advance. Take a few minutes and practice it daily. Know your material. Now, when you're delivering that presentation, I don't want you to read it. If you're going to read it, I suggest you Xerox it, pass it out, and then everyone can go home. They didn't come to hear you read. If you want to read something, go to a library and give a reading. I also don't want you to memorize it. Memorization presents 2 problems. The likelihood that you're going to forget where you are, lose your place, and then you are actually lost, but also the possibility of sounding rote, of sounding memorized, like those people that call us at dinner time, try to sell us something over the phone. They have memorized a script and are just spitting out words to you. They're not communicating with you. They're not conversing with you. So aside from your opening, now I do want you to memorize your opening. The most difficult part of a presentation is the opening. And I love it. People say, well, I relax after the first 5 minutes. Well, I don't know how many people in the audience are sitting there timing you saying, let's give that person 5 minutes to warm up. It's not happening. You are judged the moment you open your mouth to speak. So I suggest memorize your opening so that you can get through it flawlessly. It will bolster your confidence. Trust me. The next component is the social. When you stand at that lectern or stand at the head of that boardroom table, you must acknowledge your audience. You must look them in the eye, scanning the room from one side to the other, incorporating all into that presentation. Now, you're going to find smilers. Every audience has smilers. I don't know why they smile, but they do, and they make you feel good. So use them. They bolster your confidence. When you look at your smilers, everyone in that area is going to think you're looking especially at them. They won't know. But when you're able to make that eye contact, you are then talking to your audience and not at them. There are courses on public speaking that will tell you, well, if you're nervous, stare at something on the wall. And I couldn't disagree more. If you're staring at something on the wall, you are not aware of your audience's reaction to you. You're not then communicating with your audience. You're just spitting out some words. Make the eye contact. Acknowledge your audience, and it will make you feel a lot more relaxed. The third is the emotional. When you speak to your audience, I want you to speak with color, with expression, with life, with emotion. Many people are very colorful off the stage, but you put them at a lectern and suddenly all color disappears from their voice. As their pitch goes up and they start to speak faster and faster and faster, their main point is to get it over with. They are not conversing. They are not communicating. If you can approach that lectern and allow yourself to be yourself and not someone else, speak to your audience and not at them, and allow that expression to come through using the vocal variety in your voice, your facial expression, your body language, you're going to be much more interesting to listen to. Boring doesn't sell. A monotone voice does not sell. So you absolutely want to speak with the life, the emotion that is normal within you. Just allow it to be. The fourth is the physical. And this is my specialty because I teach people how to breathe with the support of the diaphragm. Now, the wonderful thing about breathing is that it is truly the best means of controlling nervousness in any form of public speaking. I teach people how to breathe in order to find their real voice so that their chest is actually powering the voice instead of their throat, their mouth, their voice box, and or their nose. When you allow that breathing to work for you, you're going to discover that you're much more comfortable making that presentation, and you are then controlling your nervousness. Most people are lazy breathers. They do this. And if you stand at the lectern breathing this way, you are only adding to your tension, because shallow or lazy breathing, which that is typical of, actually increases the toxins in your body. It produces stress. If you can breathe like this, now you didn't see anything happening. I'm breathing down here, taking that air down to my diaphragm. I'm now able to eliminate the toxins in the body, and that puts me in a more relaxed state. Yes, I'm nervous, but I'm controlling it, and I'm able to because of the breathing. Another thing that often happens at the lectern is breathlessness. How many people contact me about breathlessness? I'm going to ask you a question. When you're in conversation, do you ever wonder when to take a breath? Chances are, no. But up here it's like, when do I breathe? When do I breathe? I can't breathe. You can't breathe because, number one, you don't allow yourself to breathe. We often wait in speaking until we're totally out of air to do this, to take that huge breath. I don't want that happening. I want you interrupting your speech just like you do in normal conversation and supplementing that air supply. I'm going to show you what I mean. In the sentence I'm going to read to you, I'm going to take a breath where there wouldn't normally be a breath. But because I speak with expression, it will work. Watch. Time is what we need to get over feelings of loss. Now, I put a pause there. I can breathe there. But watch this. Time is what we need to get over feelings of loss. Time is what we need to get over feelings of loss. In each of these three cases, I have paused, which means I can breathe there. I'm allowed to. You can essentially breathe anywhere you want if you will allow yourself to breathe. But it means being aware of that breath. And the last is the spiritual. If you approach that lectern believing you can't do it, do you really think you're going to do a good job? If you approach that lectern expecting perfection, well then you just lost the battle, because perfection is not achievable. There is no such thing as perfection in a live performance. Who's to say it's perfect? Very subjective. What I may think is perfect may not be considered perfect by the other individual. So don't strive for something that is unattainable. Instead, strive to do the best job that you can do. And how do you do that? By knowing your material. By making eye contact with your audience, talking to them, not at them. By allowing your color, your animation, your emotion to come through. By learning how to breathe with the support of your diaphragm so that you can control that nervousness to allow it to work for you and not against you. If you can do those four things, then you can approach that lectern believing you're going to do the best job that you can do, and you will do it. If you'd like more information on presentation skills or fear of public speaking, I invite you to explore my website. There's a lot to read, a lot to see, and a lot to hear. My name is Nancy Daniels, and I am